Hello, and a warm welcome to our show, Love Athletics. In this program, we bring you the latest highlights from our sport with expert input from different continental areas. And we're delighted to have with us today Chilean photographer Oscar Muñoz Badilla. Hola,
Hello,
Oscar.
Anna.
Lovely to see you, and a big thank you for joining us.
No, thank you for you. It always is a pleasure to be in this program and always a pleasure to see you again too.
Thank you. So Oscar was in Budapest and then stayed in Europe for a couple weeks. So he was also in Brussels at the Diamond League meeting. But let's start with Budapest. So Oscar, what were your three favorite athletics moments of the recently concluded World Championships?
Choose all three is very difficult, but I have to say that maybe one of my favorite was the gold medal from Julie Murray in the triple jump. Especially because I know her from many years ago. The first time that I meet Julie Murray was in my country in the South American Games in Santiago in 2014, and she made the high jump. I remember that she won the high jump and wasn't a little kid, but she was unknown in the sport. So then see all the progress in her career and see her becoming in the superstar that she is now. It's very emotional, obviously. But in particular in Budapest, she qualified to the final and she started to jump and nothing spectacular. And until the fifth jump, she was maybe 7th or 8th position. So only in the last jump she can won the goal. And you have to be a very good athlete to can focus and say, okay, this is my last jump, this is my last attempt to can be the gold medal again, to can be the world championship again, the world champion again. So it's really impact to have this capability of can focus on your goal. So okay, I think that she was thinking all the time, I train for this moment. I put all my effort for this moment for be the world champion again. So, and it's incredible too to have this confidence with her coach, because I remember that Javier say something to her before the last jump, and obviously she made me feel okay. I have this. Maybe it's obviously first is for me, maybe then it's for my country, for my coach, for my family, and for all the fans. So was very impact to see all the competition, and she was 8 or 7, and in the last jump, boom, she started to jump. He screamed a lot, and she made it. So I think that it's when you say that it's more like a superstar, it's more like the best of the world, because it's really impact to have this ability to can win to maybe all the fate and all these fears, so to don't be the world champion and finally do this at the last jump. It's add more emotion to the event, because when she jumps, all the public is seeing her, even us. You have more events on the track, but I was focused on triple jump, and maybe most of the photographers too. So it was a very, very big moment, and we have this kind of confidence. So she always try to look at my camera so I can have a little more different picture of her, and because both of us speak Spanish, so I think that for when she listens the Spanish, it's more easy to me to get the focus of her in my camera. But I think that really was the first moment of and the best highlight for me, and maybe for many people of the World Championship in Budapest.
Thank you, Oscar. And what about your second moment?
My second, I think that it's no, I don't think. For me, the second was the the gold medal of Gianmarco in high jump, because he's another charismatic athlete, and obviously you can see him just in the moment when you see a guy with the health shape of his face. It's very interesting for us to start to make pictures, and obviously it's a way to obtain the focus of the press, of the public, and all of the people, I think, that expect a medal from Gianmarco, but nobody expect the gold medal for him. So he's a person. He's very charismatic too, but he has his ability to can involve the people, to the spectator. You can see in this image he start to say things to the people, and all the people is taking care about him. So I think that in some way he have the ability to can, no, I don't know the correct word, but to can drain the energy of the people and push him in every jump. So he's a very talented guy, and obviously is one of the guys that you say, okay, he's more than a lead too, because he obviously is talented, but in comparison with Julimar, I think that Gianmarco is more training, is more conscientious. He's obviously talented, but he's a kind of son of the rigor, because he has a career with many injuries, but he's still here trying to do it the best, and finally it's a kind of recompense for all the time that he's trying again. And for me too, it's very important too, because when he won the gold medal, he goes to the public, to the people with him. So he first of all he go to his coach, where at the place when was his coach, his mother, his girlfriend. So for me it's very familiar, this situation, because obviously the Italian and the South American guy are very similar in terms of we all take care about our family, our friends. So for me it was very impact to see this picture, because for me it's something very common to see here in my country. So to can see a gold champion, a world champion with the gold medal, and say hello and celebrating with his mother, it's very emotional, it's very important. And I think that it's a kind to recognize that it's not only him and his coach, it's all the family and all the friends behind this process. Obviously it's a long process to be world champion. So and well, he was the guy who celebrated a lot. I remember that the people had to say, okay, Gianmarco, it's okay, we need to to continue with the event. But he's very charismatic, and I can do good pictures, because if you see this picture, maybe I only have one picture of him jumping, but all of the pictures are celebrating, because it's a kind of can record the human emotion of, it's more than a jump, it's more than a gold medal. It's a celebrating, because you broke the arm to the destiny, and you finally do something special. You maybe who can say, okay, you're from Italy, maybe you will never win the gold medal, but he's gonna say, okay, I can do it, because and he followed a long process to do that. So it was very emotional to be here.
Thank you. Now, what about your third moment?
My third moment, obviously, is from a Chilean guy. It's from Gabriel Kerr, and when he competed in the final of the Hammer Throw, because I know Gabriel from many years ago. I know him when he was a kid, maybe from the 14 or 15 years old. So I have the opportunity, and I have the privilege to can cover most of his career. I remember the first time that when Gabriel competed from Chile was in a South American under-18 championships in Mendoza, in Argentina, on 2012. So I was a little kid, and obviously I have the possibility to stay with him in most of the South American championships and Olympics and World Championships. So it's important for me when an athlete that I know from the beginning. It start to grow, and finally, I can say that he and Humberto, maybe they are the only two athletes now in my country that can compete in a final during our championships, and obviously it's very emotional because as a photographer, I have the best place to see the action. So I'm the person who is very close to the athlete. Nobody than me in the country have this privilege. So even he can he can talk with his coach, but at the moment when he start to throw, maybe less than 1 meter from him. So it's very emotive for me to see this guy that I see to see this guy that I see all the time in my country, in my stadiums, and finally we're both in the big instance of the athletics. So it's very emotional. I always, if we have a protocol for the photographers and the press, we cannot say hello to the athletes, we cannot shake your hands during the competition, but obviously I really want to do that, but I cannot. But I think that we have this kind of connection, and because he knows that I am here, and he tries to, maybe we have this kind of no verbal communication with the eye and something like that. But it's very emotional for me to see this kid that I met 15 years ago, a little kid who nobody knows that will be a finalist twice in World Championships, in Olympics. So yeah, I think that it's very special for me, and I'm very happy that from him and from the Umberto, his partner in training, because we have two very good hammer throwers, and it's funny because, as I say, one time from him, one time for Beto, and one time for Gabriel, because now Gabriel has the better results in Budapest, but he wasn't the South American Championship. Our actual South American champions is Umberto, but sometimes he wants the South American, sometimes wants Umberto. So it's like one time him and one time the partner. So it's very funny. You cannot know who will be the best performance in every event, because it's always a surprise for us. So, but it's a very emotional moment, and because it's my country too, it's my athlete. So to have the possibility, as I told you, soon, to have my athlete in this very big instance, it's like sometimes I feel and I think, okay, we both did it, because for me, obviously, it's sometimes very difficult to go to this event. So when finally I'm with my athletes, it's a kind of we are always a team. We're a little team, and it's good to be here.
Thank you, Oscar. That was
No, I
really
think,
cool, and it's interesting to get a photographer's perspective. It's always a
yeah,
little bit different.
yeah.
So let's look now at what's been happening in our sport over the last week, starting with the
Hmm.
Memorial Van Damme meet in Brussels on 8 September, where Jakob Ingebrigtsen set his first outdoor world record.
Yeah.
Now, it's true that the 2,000-meter race is not contested very often, but the time of 4 minutes 44.79 set by Morocco's great Hicham El Guerrouj had lasted since 1999. And Ingebrigtsen took that record to an excellent level, taking over 1.5 minutes off the previous mark to clock 4:43.13. The Norwegian, who also owns the indoor 1,500 meters world record since February last year, had improved another outdoor mark earlier in 2023 at the Paris Diamond League meeting, but his
Hmm.
performance over the 2 miles was a world best and not a world record. So let's look now at the other performances in Brussels. A total of 2 world leads were set at the Memorial Van Damme, including, of course, Ingebrigtsen's world record. The Norwegian crossed the line 5 seconds ahead of the next runner, Kenya's Reynold Kipkorir Cheruiyot, who ran a world under 20 best. But the race was of a very high level and also brought 2 area records and 4 national records. The area records came from Australia's Stuart McSween, who clocked 4:48.77 for third place, and the other area record from Canada's Charles Philibert Toubout, who clocked 4:51.54 in 8th place for a NACAC record. Now, other than the 2,000 meters, the top mark among the men came from Mondo Duplantis, who successfully cleared 6 meters 10, the same mark as in Budapest, and then again tried the world record at 6:23 with a near miss on the third attempt. Other high-level marks came from Reynold Kipkorir Cheruiyot, who, as we saw, was second in the 2,000 meters, clocking 4:48.14, and Kenny Bednarek, who won the 200 meters in 19.79. Among the women, the best performance came at the 200 meters by Jamaica's double world champion Shericka Jackson, who continues her superlative summer, following on from Budapest. Here we see her in a file photo from the World Championships, and in Brussels she ran 21:48, her second best time after the 21:41 she had run 2 weeks earlier in Budapest, and that is the 4th fastest performance of all time. 3 of the top 4 marks now belong to Shericka Jackson, who again came very close to the world record of 21.34 set back in 1988 at the Seoul Olympics by the late Florence Griffith Joyner. Another lady who notched up and one more exceptional result is Dutch hurdler Femke Bol, who clocked 52.11 to finish 1.5 seconds ahead of her nearest competitor. This is the 3rd best mark of the season for Bol, who owns all top 7 performances of 2023. Now, Oscar, what athletes impressed you the most in Brussels?
I think that more than an athlete was the moment. Let me start to can say good the name. If maybe you can help me with the picture.
Fleur Young?
Fleur Young, yeah, Fleur Young, the Paralympic athlete from Netherlands. She made her first mark in the long jump, and especially because for me it's very interesting that in all the Diamond Leagues that I have the possibility to be, they obviously mix. Every time they try to put some Paralympic events and maybe another kind of event like the events for the public, but I didn't know her at this moment. I say, oh, okay, it's cool. It's a Paralympic athlete in the long jump. And when she made the jump and start to celebrate with the coach, I say, okay, maybe she's very good. So I obviously at the same moment I was investigating her career, and she's the Olympic champion in long jump in 100 meters too. So was obviously a very good athlete, and to have this kind of emotion, and was the first event of the meeting. So as I told you, for me it's very important that this kind of union with the Paralympics events, for me in same point of the history, maybe we didn't have to celebrate the Olympics and Paralympics in different instances. So maybe in same point there will be only one big event. So it's a thing that I try to do in my country to say, okay, we need to start to incorporate these kind of events. Maybe you cannot do a full Paralympic and conventional event in the same meeting, but you need to start to do it progressible, and I think that is the best way to can have this kind of real inclusion and mixture of event. And obviously it's a good tribune to the people to know who is she, because obviously she is knowing maybe in the Paralympic instance, but even for me, I didn't know who was here, but was a very talented and a very good Paralympic athlete. So for me, it was very emotional because she obviously celebrated a lot, and I was here, so I have the lucky to be in the correct place at the correct moment, so I can have all the reaction from here when she celebrate his best mark in the long jump. So for me, it was a very special moment, and I think for me was the most impressive moment of the meeting, because as I told you, because for me it's not very usual to see Paralympic sports or Paralympic athletes. I will say that I have a kind of depth with him because I never have the real possibility to can make a coverage of the Paralympic athletes. So was very emotional and was very impressive for me to see her jumping very good. So I think that she made the same mark than the
Ivana
first
Vuleta,
place.
exactly.
Yeah. So what's
Yes.
very impressive. Yeah, for me it was my top event was my top moment of the meeting in Brussels.
Yes, that was
Yeah.
really special because, as you said, same mark, 6 meter 74, as the
Yeah.
world champion, world indoor and outdoor champion Ivana Vuleta. And
Yeah.
Vuleta won because she had her third and her second, third, and even fourth, I think, jumps were
Yeah.
longer. But I mean, it really is special.
Yeah.
And what about your other special moment from Brussels?
My other special moment was the attempt of Mondo to do the to do the world record, because obviously he's trying to make the world record from many events, and for Brussels, I don't know, I don't think that was a coincidence, but volleyball was the last event. So basically when he started to make the attempt for the world record, he has all the attention of all the public in the stadium. So I can feel the pressure, because all the people expect to do that. We know that he can do the world record, but in this technical event, it's every factor is very important and significant in the development. So you know I saw the first two attempts, and you say, okay, maybe he can make it for the third attempt, but um, I think that this capacity to can block the pressure, because obviously you have all your fans in the stadium, but at the same point you need to block it because it's too much noise. You need to focus. Okay, I need to run, and I need to do my best attempt. Well, finally he cannot do that, but you can feel maybe the tension of the moment of him. So because all the public was at the same point, all the public was clamping, and then I think that even he had to say, okay, please be quiet now. I need to concentrate. And you can feel the tension of the moment, all the stadium quiet and no noise, no noise in the ambient. So well, and because I have the possibility to be infield for this moment, so to have Mondo less than 1 meter from you trying to do the world record, and see the expression of his face, was very emotional too. But well, finally he cannot do it. But I think that all expect that he can make now the record in Oregon. So and will be more impactant because will be the last attempt of the session of the year. So if he can make it, will be a very good performance too, and we will expect for more jump from Mondo. Maybe I think that Mondo can jump even 7 meters. I don't know, but he's very talented, and we expect that he made the world record. And it's funny because pole jumpers have the ability to can broke little by little this record. So I saw 2 or 3 records from Mondo. So I know that I cannot be in Eugene, but even if I cannot presence this record, I know that I have more opportunities to see another record from Mondo. So that's
That's true. We're lucky in this respect.
Yeah, I'm very lucky.
Thank you, Oscar.
No,
So
thank you to
also
you.
starting on 8 September and lasting 3 days was the Zagreb meeting, Memorial Boris Handzakovic. There were several good performances there, 3 days of competition, as we saw. The best performance came in the men's shot put, which was contested as a street event, and New Zealand's Tom Walsh, the 2017 world champion and Budapest fourth placer, heaved his implement to 22 meters 46, his second best mark of the year. Among the women, the best performance came from 3,000 meter steeplechase world record holder Beatrice Chepkoech, who in the 2,000 steeplechase added a world best over the shorter distance, rarely run at senior level, clocking 5:47.42 to win by over 5 seconds. Over the men's 3,000 meters, in a race won by former athlete refugee team representative Dominic Loquignolo in 7:33.95, Uruguay's Santiago Catrofe set a South American record when finishing 8th with 7:37.15, taking over 2.5 seconds off the previous continental best, which had belonged to Brazil's Hudson Santos de Souza since 2002. And Catrofe is super talented. He owns national records at all distances from the 1,000 to the 10,000 meters. Mm-hmm. Now, Oscar, what can you tell us about the new continental record holder?
From Santiago?
Santiago.
Yeah, well, I know him only maybe my first time was on 4 years ago. We celebrate our first South American Indoor Championship. I was hearing the name of Santiago Catrofe. Well, his history is he lives in Spain. Obviously, he's from Uruguay. His parents moved to Spain many years ago. And he's very talented, and I think that he has this kind of advantage because he knows and he competes in the European system. So even he's not actually he cannot go to the South American Championship this year because obviously he preferred to prepare for World Champions and all the meetings in Europe. But he's really talented, and as you say, he can make good performance from 800 meters to the 10,000, and I think that maybe the next step from Santiago will be to run the half and the full marathon. So he's talented. I think that he's a very good athlete for our region, and I have the confidence with him. I meet with him in the hotel when I go in Brussels to pick up my accreditation, and he's a guy who is trying to he's not trying, he's doing the thing with the measure and with patting. So it's a good thing because he's doing very good things, and and this is the idea, to have Santiago for many years more. So now he will be in the Pan American Games, and so let's see, will be his first Pan American Games, and maybe I think that will be his, I don't know if he will be the first event outdoor from him representing Uruguay, but he's very talented, and I think that it's doing a good career. And the only bad thing is that, the South American calendar is not very compatible with the European calendar. So we don't have many opportunity to see him running here in South America, especially for the South American events. So at this point, maybe he will need to decide, okay, this year maybe I will focus on the South American calendar, and the other year maybe in the European. But he's very talented, and he's a very nice guy too. And I think that he will still break in more nationals and South American records. And as I told you, his logical career will be to, maybe in a few years ago, he will oppose, and he will be running the half and the full marathon. And I think that he can make a very good results too in these events. But I think that it's one of the best guys of the area. So we need to keep him, and because I think that I know that he received some offers, maybe he can run for Spain. But for me, always, I mean, it's a pleasure, it's an honor when at least they say, okay, no, I will represent my country, even if they have more contracts or offers to represent other countries. But he's a very good guy, and I have the faith that he will still breaking records for his country and for the area. So it's a person to have in the how do you say, you need to have in the mirror from Santiago Trophy.
Thank you, Oscar. That was really interesting. And
Yeah.
Since you mentioned road races and the track season is coming to a close, road races are starting to take center stage. And the top result of the last week on the roads came in Brasov, Romania, where 22-year-old Kenyan Agnes Chebet-Ngetich, world cross-country bronze medalist last March, set a women-only world record in the Transylvania 10-kilometer race, part of the Brasov Running Festival. Ngetich clocked 29:24, the third mark in history, 10 seconds behind the overall world record of 29:14 set by Ethiopia's Yalemzerf Yehwala last year, and 5 seconds behind the Ethiopians' world-leading mark of this year, both obtained in mixed races. Now, Ngetich's performance was so good that her split at 5 kilometers, 14:25, is also a women-only world record at the distance, and also the third best overall mark of all time, behind two marks by Ethiopia's Ejgayu Taye, though not quite of the same super high quality as her 10-kilometer mark. So it's time now to get back to the global overview of our sport and recap the world leads. There were a few in the last 7 days on various surfaces. Now, I've included the road mile, which should not really be there because the course in New York is slightly downhill. So Josh Kerr's mark of 3:47.9 is the third best of all time, but it cannot be considered for records purposes. Among the men, of course, we have the 2,000 meters world record by Jakob Ingebrigtsen in Brussels. Among the women, also in the road mile, Gemma Reekie made it a Scottish double in New York, clocking 4:19.4. Then we have the 5 kilometers time by Agnes Chebet-Ngetich in Brasov. Her 10 kilometers mark is not a world best because Yalemzerf Yehwala had done better this year. In the javelin throw in Brussels, Haruka Kitaguchi, still on a high from the World Championships, threw her implement to 67 meters 38. And a final world meet came in the Russia Race Walking Cup over 20 kilometers, where Rejhan Kagramanova clocked 1 hour 25:21. However, not all world leads are top-level marks, so we also continue to look at the top results last week, starting with the men's events. And we will include in brackets several marks which are regular but are not included in the World Athletics lists. So among the men, over 200, as we saw, very good mark by Kenny Bednarek in Brussels, and also very good 19.82, Zarnel Hughes in second place. The 2,000 meters, we saw Jakob Ingebrigtsen world record, Reynold Kipkorir Cheruiyot world under 20 best, Stuart McSwain area record, and also very good time for the Netherlands, Niels Laros. Now, this is on the 110 hurdles. This mark is not and will not appear in the World Athletics list because Jason Joseph improved his national record to 13.07, but the meeting in Basel had not been included, had not been declared by the Swiss Federation to the World Athletics calendar. So unfortunately, the mark will not count for record purposes, which I think is unfair. In the pole vault, as we saw, Mondo Duplantis, another great performance in Brussels. He had already jumped 6:12 in Ostrava, 6:11 in Hengelo, 6:10 in Budapest. And in Brussels, he again jumped 6:10, while behind him, both with 5 meters 92, Sam Kendricks and EJ Obiena. And here we have, as we saw, Tom Walsh in the shot put in Zagreb, and 3 very good performances in Arzignano, Italy, which probably will also not be, they're not currently on the World Athletics list. Sometimes for smaller meets, it takes a little bit of time, but it could also be that the meet in Arzignano was not declared as part of the World Athletics calendar. So very good marks by Joe Kovacs, 22:36, Leonardo Fabri, 22:14, and Zane Weir, 21:90, may not count for rankings and performances by World Athletics. Now, among the women, we also had some very good marks. Sharika Jackson, as we saw, the second best time of the year with 21.48. Also in Brussels, Laura Muir, very good time of 3:55.34, ahead of Kira McGinn, 3:55.87. Over the 4 hurdles, as we said, Femke Boll clocked her third best time of the year with 52:11. 50K and 10K, Agnes Jebet Cerotic, we mentioned. As we mentioned, the 2,000 meter steeplechase world record by Beatrice Chepkoech in Zagreb. So, Oscar, South American athletes enjoyed a good year in 2023. Which South American performances would you like to highlight?
Okay, obviously the biggest performance is for our queen Julimar, and then you have Darlan Romani from Brazil in the shot put. Santiago Gatrofe too, as you told you, is a guy who is very talented. He's making good performance from South America, and I think that we celebrate the South American Championships in Brazil, in Sao Paulo this year, and we have I think that was the best final of the history of South American Championships in South America. So we have three guys under the 10 seconds in the final. So was Eric Barbosa from Brazil, who clocks 9.97. The other guy was Felipe Vardy from Brazil too, who clocks 9.96. And the other guy was from Colombia, Ronald Longa, who clocks 9.99. And he's all an under 20 guy too. So I think that we need to be focused in these guys because, as I told you, was the best 100-meter final in the history of the South American Championship. So I think that they will start to make noise in the big events too.
Definitely, and if I'm not mistaken, at least 2 or 3 of them went below the previous South American record by Robson, Caetano.
Yeah. So what's a very incredible final. I cannot imagine to can presence this kind of event in South America, and what's very incredible. But we have this guy from Guyana too, but from Suriname, Azinga from Guyana, but he's now is banned. Yeah, so we need to wait until the final decision because he broke the South American record with 9.89, but we need to wait because if he doesn't, finally he will be banned. The record will be for another person. So we are expecting to know the final decision to can assign the new record for the other people. Basically, was a very big final.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Oscar. Let's look now at top under 20 and under 18 marks. So we had neglected this age category in the past weeks when all the focus was on the senior marks at the World Championships. So we're now going to catch up on marks set over the last month. And here we go. So in the 200 meters in Budapest, Erwin Knighton ran 19.75 in the semifinal. And then he was second in the final with 19.87. And these are the number 4 and the number 10 under 20 marks of all time. And the top 13 belong to Erwin Knighton. Over 400 meters in the heats in Budapest, Botswana's Busang Colin Kebinatshipi ran 44.75 and moves into number 15 of the all-time list. Over 800 meters in Xiamen Diamond League meeting, Emmanuel Wanyonyi won that race in 1:43.20. He is still number 6 in the under 20 all-time list, but improved his time. Over 1500, Reynold Kipkorir Cheruiyot in Budapest was 8th in the 1500 meter final. He remains at number 5 in the under 20 all-time list, but improves his mark. And Niels Laros of the Netherlands, who was 10th in Budapest, moves into number 20 in the all-time under 20 list. Sorry, number 7 in the under 20 all-time lists. In Brussels, over 2,000 meters, we saw Reynold Kipkorir Cheruiyot, world under 20 best, and Niels Laros also clocked a very good time. Over 400-meter hurdles in Budapest, Roshan Clark, who had already improved the world, he had equaled the world record earlier in the season. He set an outright world record of 47.34 in the semifinals, and then ran an excellent 48.07 to place 4th in the final. And in the heats, he also had a really good time, 48.39. So Clark now has the three of the 5 best under 20 marks of all time belong to Roshan Clark. In the triple jump, Jaden Hibbert in qualifying, he had jumped the longest qualifying mark with 17 meters 70, second best under 20 mark of all time. But then, unfortunately, he was injured in the final, as we know, and in the first jump, and couldn't compete. Among the women, there was a very good mark in Bellinzona on the 4th of September by Swiss Audrey Werro, 158.13. She moves to number 13 under 20 of all time. Over 3,000 meters in Xiamen, Ethiopia's Ainadis Mebratu clocked 8:30.99. She moves into number 2 in the under 20 all-time list. And also in the same race, Melknat Wudu placed 7th, and she clocked 8:36.81, moving up to number 8 in the under 20 all-time list. Over 10 kilometers in Brasov, in the race where we saw Ngetic set the world record, Diana Cherotic of Kenya placed 4th. She clocked 31.17, which brings her to number 6 in the under 20 all-time list. And over the 300,000 steeplechase in Budapest, Faith Cherotic was a bronze medalist with 9:00:69, and days later in Zurich, she clocked 9:07.59. So the first is the second best mark. She's number 2 in the under 20 all-time list, and her mark in Zurich is number 15. And also in Brussels, Angelina Topic of Serbia, she equaled her national record of 1:97. She is alone in number 9 spot in the under 20 all-time list. And it's especially important that she repeated her because she had jumped 1:97 in Paris, but that was just before, one day before the start of the qualifying period for Paris Olympics. So having jumped it again, she now has the qualifying standard for Paris. And in the pole vault, Hannah Moll, in qualifying in Budapest, she jumped 4:65 meters. Now that is the number 1 spot in the under 20 all-time lists, but it's not a world record because Finland's Vilma Murto has marks of 4:71 meters, 4:66, and also 4:65 indoors. So let's take a look now at the under 18. And there were understandably not many top marks as the high school season is over and age category competitions mainly concluded as well. So there was no mark in the top 15 of all time among the men. There were 3 among the women. In the 1,500 meters in Brussels, Ethiopia's Saron Berhe placed 11th, and with a mark of 4:00:46. She remains at number 4 in the under 18 all-time list, but improves her time. Over 3,000 meters in Xiamen, another Ethiopian, Yenawe Kefale, ran 88:44:47, moves into number 7 in the under 18 all-time list. And finally, in the heptathlon on 3 September in Hanover at the German Combined Events Championship, Emma Kaul won the under 18 event. Now, if the name Kaul sounds familiar, that's because she is the sister of 2019 World Decathlon gold medalist Niklas Kaul, and she is coached by her. So 5,946 points, excellent mark for Emma Kaul, who moves to number 9 in the under 18 all-time list. Now, Oscar, who are 2 under 20 South American athletes we should look out for?
For me, it's Ronald Longa from Colombia and Renan Gallina from Brazil. They are two youngs who run. They are sprinters. They run this 100 and 200 meters, and they clocked under 10 marks in this year. And actually, I think that Renan Gallina moves advanced to the semifinals in Budapest for the 200 meters. So for me, are the best under 20 athletes performance in this year in here in South America.
Thank you. Definitely, sprinting looks to be in a very good place now in South
Finally.
America. How it's diversifying. You have African sprinters with, let's see, Tobago winning 2 medals. You have now South American sprinters coming to a very good level. So it's really interesting. And of course, among the very young, Thailand's Puripol Bunson has not been quite as fast this year, but he's also extremely talented.
Yeah, for me, it's very special because now anything can pass. For me, point of view, maybe 10 years ago for the World Championships, especially, you have a very strong Jamaican and US team, but now all can pass. So now you have many surprise in the final. So it's more emotional for seeing and for follow the athletics, because nothing now can all can pass. So even in the World Championship, you see many athletes winning the sprint race by the 8 or the 9 line. So now we have more surprise than maybe 10 years ago.
Definitely, I also find it.
Yeah, it's more.
I also find it more interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you, Oscar.
No, thank you to you, Anna.
Now, let's move to some cool athletics news, because I'd like to highlight something. Triple World 110 Hurdles champion Grant Holloway is organizing a golf tournament on 14 October to raise funds for his Grant Holloway Athletics Foundation, and specifically to provide Thanksgiving meals for needy families in the Gainesville area. So congratulations to Grant Holloway. I really like it when athletes, especially when they're still at the top of their career, they're also thinking about others.
Yeah.
Now we have more sad news, unfortunately, as a key protagonist in the world of athletics has left us. British statistician and commentator Peter Matthews passed away on Saturday, 9 September, aged 78. Matthews had joined the National Union of Track Statisticians, appropriately called NUTS, in 1961, and he was still its chairman at the time of passing. His first job as an in-stadium announcer was at the Commonwealth Games in Edinburgh in 1970, and he was the stadium announcer at the European Championships on many events, and the last one was the European Championships in Göteborg in 2006. After that, from 2012 to 2019, he was live stream announcer for European athletics events. He was a TV commentator from 1975 to 96, starting with the BBC, then ITV, Channel 4, IAAF, and World Athletics. He became the editor of the ATFS International Athletics Annual in 1984 and was still working on the last edition when he passed. And similarly, he was first co-editor and then editor of Athletics International Newsletter from 1993 and was editor at the time of his passing. Now, to realize the impact Matthews had on the sport, not only in Britain, but internationally, I would like to quote Nigerian journalist Dare Esan, who sent me this message when he heard the news. Read about Peter Matthews' passing. Sad such a great personality is no more. He made my world debut in Athens a memorable one with his voice on commentary and analysis. And I think this says a lot about how he was able to touch the lives of people all over the world through his passion, knowledge, and his always gentlemanly demeanor. Rest in peace, Peter Matthews. Let's look now at upcoming events as we reach the end of our show. So this weekend on 16 and 17 September, we have the Prefontaine Classic in Eugene, which are this year the Diamond League finals. On the Sunday 17, Sydney Marathon, which is a World Athletics Platinum event, and they hope to be included in the World Marathon Majors. Next weekend, 23-24, the Decastar meeting in Talence in France. That's the last leg of the World Athletics combined event Tour Gold. 23 September, cross-country season starting with the World Athletics Cross Tour. It's a silver event, but it's the oldest cross-country competition. Lindigolopet in Sweden. And my goodness, it's already marathon time. 24 September, Berlin Marathon. On 29 September to 5 October, athletics events at the Asian Games in Hangzhou, China. And on the 1st of October, the World Athletics Road Running Championships in Riga, Latvia. And later this year, of course, Pan American Games will take place in Santiago, Chile, with stadium events from the 30th of October to 4th of November, preceded by both marathons on 22 October. Now, Oscar, tell us, how popular is athletics in Chile? Do you expect lots of spectators for the competitions?
I think that it's not obviously the most popular sport here. The most popular sport is football, but we are very happy because the tickets for the Pan American Games were sold very quickly. So, and one of these was the tickets for the athletics. So we expect we expect very many people supporting our athletes, and obviously all the athletes of the continent for this event. So I think that will be a very good possibility to can show to the people the athletics, because I think that obviously it has a lot of potential to be a popular sport, and because it's very funny to see athletics for the spectator. But I think that with the pass of the time, the people is getting more involved with the Pan American Games. So many people start to make some kind of investigation. They're trying to involve with the sports that will be on the Pan American sport. So I hope that will be really a very good incentive to that the people can support all the other sports with their presence in the stadiums and in the events. But as I told you, we really have faith, and we are very happy because the tickets for the Pan American Games were sold very quickly. So we expect a full stadium with many people seeing our athletes participating in this event.
That's a very good sign that the tickets were sold out. So yes, let's hope it'll be a great competition.
Yeah.
Thank you, Oscar.
No,
so
thank
we're
you
now
to
at
you.
the end of our program, and it was great having Oscar with us on the show.
Thank you to you, Anna. It's always a pleasure to be here, and obviously it's always a pleasure to when we meet in the event. So we have the fortune, the lucky to can meet in Budapest. So always is a pleasure, and thank you for all, and thank you for support all South American athletes too, because you have more information than us of our athletes. So it's good to have people like you in this sport, and we really appreciate it. And we have we have very good memory from you in South America. So we hope that you can visit us very soon.
Definitely. I'm still thinking about coming to Santiago for the Pan Am, and I would love to be back. You know, it's a continent that I really like.
Yeah, it'll be very funny. So
yeah, it would be great.
Yeah, hope to see you in
Yes,
Santiago.
me too. Me too.
Yeah. Okay. See you, Anna. Yeah. Those
Thank
fingers.
you.
No,
Yes.
thank you to you.
Thank you,
Anything
Oscar.
that. Okay. Thank you to you, Anna. Was a nice interview too. So, and we expect what will happen with our athletes in Eugene too, the last
Yes,
big competition.
exactly.
So,
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting.
okay, let's see what happened. Thank you, Anna, again.
Thank you, Oscar. Thank you all for watching, and see you next week on Love Athletics to look together at the comments, highlights, and analysis of what's been happening in our sport over the past 7 days. And as you said, Diamond League finals in Eugene look to be very, very interesting.
Yeah. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao. Gracias.
De nada.